Hello, this is Andrea from OurDayDream. It's OurDayDream Facebook page and group. So, in our lives, we're going to go through many dark spells, which is sadness, pain, suffering, beating ourselves up, regret, having to forgive somebody else. We're going to go through many trials in our lives that are basically, laid out in order to teach us better. And so we end up getting in these really painful periods of self-evaluation. Like, could I maybe done things differently? Maybe I could have seen things differently. Maybe if I could have changed something that took place. And we evaluate ourselves in our walk, and sometimes we're brought to complete pain and suffering due to situations that arise that are ultimately bringing us that uncomfortability in order to change and move positions. So I go through this so much, and sometimes I may even actually go through this twice in 1 week. I mean, I could even say that I went through this 3 times a week, but in Genesis, God did say that He's gonna make the women emotional. So here I am, a woman, and I go through these different processes. But we have to go through these dark periods in order for us to grow and learn and understand more and know more. And so, what do you really do in these dark periods? It says in the Bible, it says, give these things to the Lord. My pastor was just speaking the scripture this morning. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And so you're supposed to give this pain and suffering away. But what happens if it is that God's really not taking that wrath off of you in that moment? That you're actually trying to give this pain away and you're keeping it, and it's not really going anywhere, but it's staying right with you. Oftentimes I find myself really angry, like, why am I trying to give this away right now? I'm doing everything I possibly can, and I'm still keeping it. And I'm sure a lot of people do too, and I feel like, we get angry enough, then change takes place. But regardless, we have to go through these different periods of time in order to change the things inside of us. And what we focus on, is what actually we manifest. So if we're focusing on anger, we're manifesting a lot of rage into our steps. If we're focusing on happiness, we're manifesting happiness into our steps. But we're all human, and we don't all the time stay, a Care Bear and fantasies in happy land. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or if you're an unbeliever. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter. We still have to go through these different processes of learning better from what we had learned previously in our lives. And so, I don't know, I rather just, whenever I'm going through these periods, I just wait it out. And I know that God's going to bring me a revelation at some point or another, and He's going to show me better as to where it is that I need to go, or what it is that I need to do, or what it was that I was missing that I had yet to learn, or whatever. But I really like this morning's daily reflection from, again, Simple Abundance, a Daybook of Comfort and Joy by Sarah Ban Breathnach. And now, though this book is actually laid out for the women, it can be, twisted to, something that men should do as well. So keep in mind that if it does say her or she, but it's talking to the human race. She chose her niche as the ladies, and that's who she chose as her tribe in this book. So on March 14th, it's called Loving Yourself into Wholeness. Life batters us without whether we are rich or poor, public or private. The wound we suffer may be an open cut or a slow, slight hemorrhage of the soul. On the outside, we may look as if we've got our act together, but each of us encounters those dark, stormy days when we feel very small and very fragile and very frightened, as if we might shatter into 1,000 pieces and break into heart-rending sobs at something as simple as "how are you?" When this happens, we have to be kind to ourselves, not beat ourselves up. Leave that to the rest of the world. Our feelings are valid. Our fears are very real, even though they are probably not based on reality. Always remember that the best description of fear is false evidence appearing real. When these occasions occur in your life, recall that your first duty is to love yourself into wholeness. How to do this? By pampering yourself with simple pleasures and small indulgences, by treating yourself like a baby, like the baby you are right now. Could you bring home something wonderful for dinner from a Chinese or Indian carryout? Could you treat yourself to some of the potted daffodils or tulips that are appearing in the shops about now? Could you take the afternoon off and sneak into a matinee? If not, how about bringing home 2 or 3 classics from the video store and enjoying a movie marathon with a bowl of popcorn? Why not delight in an ice cream cone for lunch? Taking it to the park to bask in the sun and hear the birds singing? What about saying no to the next request for her to do something? Yes, you can. You don't have to do everything and be everything for everyone else all the time. If you think you can't possibly do one more thing without screaming or crying, you're probably right. Start saying, "No, I'm sorry, I've got a previous commitment." For of course you do. Today you need to be there for yourself. Remember, we did not lose ourselves all at once, but we recover our authentic selves one kind gesture at a time. So what do we do whenever we get into these dark moments? We evaluate why it is that we're hurting. And, sometimes it is that we just need to love ourselves just a little bit more. Sometimes it is that we just need that alone time to be alone. Sometimes it is that, maybe we do need a little bit of nature. Sometimes it is something so simple. But just to remove yourself from that and love yourself a little bit more, it might be that in that moment, when you calm yourself and really, start loving yourself through the sorrow, that you'll be able to hear a little bit clearer what it is that God's trying to relay to you, what it is that you are learning right now, what it is that you do need to know. And, you guys may already previously have, realized that I'm a big advocate for church. And the reason for that is because when you're going through these moments of, sorrows and growth and things like that, if you go to church, chances are your pastor is going to speak about it at the church. It's just how the Spirit moves. And maybe he might not even be talking to your circumstance in general, but there's something in that service that pops out to you like, wow, I really needed to hear that right now. In this moment, I really, really needed to hear that right now. And so that's why I say, if you're pain and sorrow, go to church. But, for me, I go twice a week. And I go because I enjoy it. I love the camaraderie. I love the fact that you just never know what the Spirit's going to gift you with that day. Maybe you might not even knew that there was anything wrong, or that you were, going through something at all until you went in church and you heard something. You were like, oh, well, that's why I'm feeling this some type of off. But, the Spirit will speak through men of God in order to give you information. And if you're around men of God, chances are you're going to gain some revelations that God wants you to know. God knows that you're going to be at church that day, and God tells the man of God what to relay to save his children. He's not going to let you just go out there and just linger around aimlessly. He's definitely going to let you know what it is that you need to know. He loves you, and he doesn't want you. Our God is not a God of confusion. He is the God of knowing and the God of truth, the only truth. So, Jeff says, fellowship with other Christians is absolutely a blessing. It is. And it's a place too where I drop stuff off. Like if I know I've been holding on to stuff all week, I give it away. I give it away whenever I'm at church, and I allow it to stay there. And I allow it to stay there with God in my mind. This is how else I use church. So, but yeah, we go through these different times in our lives to, learn something. And oftentimes we hold on to this pain and sorrow for for way longer than what we were expected to hold on to it. And definitely loving yourself a little bit more, taking some time to like evaluate your circumstances. But also I've always ministered the fact that, if you go to big bodies of water and you pray to God, you're going to find the Spirit like you've probably never felt it before. If you've never prayed down by the water, I definitely recommend you doing that, especially if it is that you just have tried everything in your power to get rid of something. You've done everything that you could possibly think of, and you were still going through this pain and sorrow. Take yourself down to a creek or down to a lake or a body of water and just get on your knees and give that away to God, and speak to God like He is your Father, like He is your best friend. And see once if you don't actually understand what everybody else is talking about whenever they say the Spirit flows, and understanding what it is that is actually the Spirit. Some people have never felt that before. Some people don't know what that feels like. They just know that there's prayers that either get answered or they don't. They've never actually felt that feeling. So that's why they can so easily walk away from it. But yeah, definitely going down to the water. And in the Bible, in the beginning, God said that the Spirit of God moved across the water. And if you think about it, when you go to the ocean, on vacations, things like that, there's a peace, there's a calm when you go towards the ocean. So we all know that to be true. And that's definitely a blessing to have that, as a resource to go to if you're going through it. You're feeling depressed, you don't want to get out of bed, you're just laying around all day, and, just stop and think to yourself, is this of God? Does God have me imprisoned right now to my sadness, or where is this coming from? So, and who do I want right now in this moment? I want God. So, I'll get in the car and I'll drive and I'll find a place where I can pray down by the water. And every time I gain just a beautiful spiritual experience. Nothing like anything I felt anywhere else but by the water. But I hope you guys are having an awesome Sunday. And if you like this message, please share. I love you guys so much. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.